Hello everyone, Soren here, the author of the Master Key Vocal System. In this webinar, I will explain all that is needed to know about our student and teachers' licenses. But not all alone, I will have a special guest with me today, so stay tuned and see who this special guest is. We're going to talk about them in as many aspects as possible. What types of licenses we currently have available for those who want to join the MKVS. For example, who can get what type of license? What does it mean to hold an MKVS license from a legal point of view, from a music or voice professional, and as a private human being point of view? We'll welcome a very special guest today who's gonna help me explain some of this stuff that I just mentioned, and who's going to help me answer any of your questions regarding, of course, the topic of today. We may see him regularly in these live streams depending on the topics that you will give us or we will come forward with. So depending on small factors, he will join us more regularly or not. It is my pleasure to introduce you all to Matthew Hecker from Hecker Bros Ltd. So I hope you did say hello to each other in the live chat, and of course at the end I will always answer as many questions as possible. I know there was quite a bit of people watching our last webinar where we had all listened to the wonderful MKVS student license holder, Lachlan Torres. And we had a blast basically. It was amazing hearing her sing, and I encourage you all to write in the comment section of that video or this video if you want us to do this more with other students or teachers or anything like that. More feedback will basically create the content at these webinars. And now, everyone, I would like to welcome you all to Matthew Hecker from Hecker Bros Ltd. Hello, Matt.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to see you, and thank you so much for inviting me for this live chat.
No problem at all. Actually, for those who haven't seen our first webinar, can you let us know why that we are talking about the company Hecker Bros Ltd? What is it, and what role does it have with the MKVS?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. We are talking about Hecker Bros Ltd because obviously the Master Key Vocal System is partly you as the author and the master teacher of the system, and Hecker Bros Ltd is doing a lot of background work. It's a nice and well-working partnership, I would say, between you and Hecker Bros Ltd.
Definitely.
So it's a little bit of let's have a look of the little bit of history there. So Hecker Bros Ltd was formed at the end of May 2013 in London, United Kingdom. So Hecker Bros Ltd is a registered company in the United Kingdom where I currently live and my brother lives as well. It's probably not a big surprise for anybody that Hecker Bros Ltd named after myself and my brother. So the two of us formed this company in 2013. Basically, the nature of the business that we started to do back then with Hecker Bros Ltd was completely different. It had nothing to do with anything that we do right now at MKVS whatsoever. But slowly we got into this nature of business because we were very interested, and we were very keen to to dig a little bit more up from this up and coming thing, which was called online teaching. So now, because we are in the world where COVID hit us pretty hard, and now we know that online teaching is a big thing, and it's actually quite important for the last year and a half now, that people are able to take lessons, all kinds of lessons and webinars and all sorts of things online. We already started there. Well, maybe not in 2013, but definitely around 2016-17-ish, something like that. So in 2017, that was the point where we really started to look into that, and we started to develop new things there. And that is when Hacker Bros Ltd got hold of RMS Vocal Institute. That's again something that I'm pretty sure that you talked about
Yes.
in the previous webinar, as far as I remember correctly.
Yes.
So RMS Vocal Institute is an online vocal institute that is specialized on extreme vocal techniques, and also specialized on online teaching, because it's an online institute. So there's no building at the moment where you can just go to an address and walk in to the institute. No, this is all virtual. So we are operating online worldwide. It's a pretty big thing right now, because we have over 300 students from all over the world, everywhere. And you are the head teacher of this institute.
That's right.
This is how I got into the picture, and how we got into the picture with MKVS as well. That we've known each other since 2016-17 from RMS Vocal Institute.
Exactly.
So this is how Hacker Bros comes to the picture. Now, if you are asking about the role of the company, Hacker Bros Ltd is doing all the background work that you can imagine could happen and does happen behind the curtain. What I mean by that is we are working behind the scenes, all sorts of background work for MKVS, which is included but not limited to accounting, legal department, marketing, sales, organizing events, especially when there's no COVID, so we can actually get together physically, but still helping with researches. That's why Hacker Bros took quite a big part in the research trip back in 2019 when we went to Grenoble, France. So researches, logistics, IT and other technical support, that is a quite big part for me, especially to take care of those, and some of the customer service as well, and so on. So you know, the list goes on.
It does go on for sure. It's a lot of work with also graphics for a website, and whew, I'm happy I'm not doing those things. I like teaching and writing.
Well, yeah, that's very true, and that's very true that you should do what you are good at, and you are very good at that. So that's no question at all on that. Yeah, so basically that is the short history of Hacker Bros Ltd, and that is how we got into the picture of the Master Key Vocal System.
Awesome. So before we get into the topic of today, let's talk a little bit more about how we started collaborating together, the MKVS and the Hacker Bros, how it got kick-started, as people like to use that word.
So yeah, why not? Let's talk about a little bit more how we start to collaborate. What happened is that we went to this research trip that was organized by yourself, Natalie Heinrich, who is a voice specialist and voice scientist actually, and we went to her lab, to Gypsy lab, to Grenoble, France in 2019 in January. So on that research trip, I was there only to hold a camera, to make a B-roll, you know, to document everything. But at the same time, I found myself in a position where I was in the background. I was just listening to you guys talking about all sorts of fascinating stuff, and I found myself kept asking questions and kept thinking about stuff that I never thought I would think before. And what happened there is that we were the one, you and myself, who were actually started to go and bring the whole research further after that research trip. So that is why we immediately started to put our heads together and started to talk about some stuff. Then what happened is that you didn't talk much. You just literally went into research mode immediately. You got into your cocoon, locked yourself into a room, and started to write the very basics of the paper that we call today the Master Key Vocal System.
That's right.
So this paper, when you started to write it, obviously at the beginning it was all good. It went without any hesitation or any flow. But after a while you bumped into some barriers or questions, I should say, where my expertise of field, which is sound engineering and more kind of physics and mathematics profession or field, where it really came handy, which is really surprising, because we are talking about a vocal method or a paper that is describing and helping, with the vocal development. You would never think that anything like that would come handy, but that was the biggest surprise to me, that it's actually the whole system is based on very real and very scientific stuff, including neuroscience, including acoustics, psychoacoustics, also physics, mathematics, and all sorts of things. So it's quite fascinating to look at this paper and see that how much effort and how much expertise actually got into to be able to make this thing alive. So yeah, obviously from your part, the neuroscience, that was absolutely fascinating, to me, how the hell you managed to put things together in that, because that is not an easy topic to research.
Trust me, my wife were not happy. That's the easiest way to put it.
I can believe that. I can absolutely believe that. Yeah.
A lot of
So this is how we started to collaborate. That my field of expertise is a little bit of opposite. I would say the opposite side of the same coin where we are. And we just found our workflow to be very similar, and we found ourselves to be complete each other in those fields where we do not have the expertise on one, then the other had and managed to help it out. So long story short, we've been working together closely ever since to expand, to evolve, and to update the system. And this is the best way it works. It kind of works, the work that we do there and we do ever since.
Exactly. It's good to have more than one point of view as well. Instead of me just saying, well, this is the neuroscience point of view, then you could say, well, on acoustics or mathematically this would say this or explain that. So I think that it is smart for us to work together on some of these questions. Simply, if I had to learn all these things that from a point zero, that would have been okay. We can probably start in 5 or 10 years with the method then. So it was also a lot easier for me to have someone who knows these things quite a bit more than I do. So yeah, it definitely.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is that like I said, even today we are still working with the similar workflow. We complete each other, and we actually nicely share the work that we have with the MKVS day by day between us. It's like I'm doing some part of the customer service, you do some other parts as well. Obviously you take care of the clients directly, talking to them. you're doing social media, content creation, all sorts of other aspects, writing new papers. You are about to write or finish the second paper, writing a third one. It's like all the same. It's safe to say, however, I would say for everybody, it's safe to say that if you are ever planning, or if you ever get in touch with the MKVS, you will end up talking to either myself or to you, for sure.
That's
for
yes.
sure. That is why, because we are sharing the workflow very nicely. It's one way or another. You will eventually meet either virtually or in writing by emails with you or with me.
When it's technical, let's say something wrong with your email or something, whatever, in those aspects, then it's 90% sure that Matthew will be the one contacting you back because I am not that good at technical things like that. Like some things I can, but yeah, you can see what's going on the back screen, or how to put it on a website so we can see what's actually going on. But for me, I can say, oh, maybe you did this right or wrong. And if that's not the case, then I'll send Matthew a little text and he will then contact you, or I'll ask you to contact Matthew. So yeah, it's definitely important to have us both in this company. So
absolutely.
So yeah. So we have licenses, Matthew. Why, in your opinion, did we choose licenses instead of single lessons?
Okay, so we mutually decided on creating a license-based system to share the method with the public, didn't we? So we actually put a lot of thought into this and took some time to come up with a manageable and secure system like the MKVS licenses. So why did we do that? I shall say that on one hand, you already mentioned that it takes at least 6 months, everybody, 6 months at least, that's the minimum, to implement the system into someone's brain. That already by itself pretty much excludes all other possible forms of trading information and intellectual property. By the way, now that I mentioned intellectual property, it's worth to keep in mind that the MKVS and what we are offering to people is this is the best way to put it, it's an intellectual property. It comes handy to think about it this way when you are reading about how we share the information, how we keep it secure, and how we protect it in a way that it makes sense, because that's the only way that you can handle intellectual property in a safe way as we can do it right now. So all of the content that MKVS produces and all MKVS scientific papers are intellectual properties of the Master Key Vocal system. So that's the way it is. So now we can talk about why not doing the same thing what everybody else does. Well, most of the people does the individual lessons, right? Because that's the big question, that okay, how come we got licenses in this big training period, like big 12 months at least, kind of training period, opposed to the vocal lessons like what you can take every single time? Well, that is why, because it's pretty much impossible to sell an individual vocal lessons, basically to sell an intellectual property with individual vocal lessons. The nature of the system requires us to share major and crucial part of our intellectual property with our clients on the very first session. So therefore there's no way back once you have started. There's literally, you can't undo that at that point. So that is the exact reason why we operate after the first lesson on no refund policy, but that's another topic for another day, obviously.
Of course.
So
we also want them to start as fast as possible, instead of having 5 lessons and then maybe giving them one thing and another. No, you get everything you need after or during the first lesson. So that's why we want to protect the method, of course, but also make sure you get everything that's needed in one go, instead of it being a graduate thing, and you never know when the end is. Like when you have single lessons, when does it stop? Does it stop after 5 years, 2 years, 1 year, half a year? No, we actually put a timeline on and say this is a semester. Think about it like that instead. So you get all your books, all your whatever, just like any other education. And here you go. Now you can start your education or your semester with the MKVS in this
That's
case.
right. That's exactly correct. And well, yeah, that's very well. You put it very well. And after finishing the MKVS training period, you will be literally richer with the knowledge and the ability to utilize the system in any way you want it, anytime, in any circumstances. And that you wouldn't be able to do with individual small lessons, so that's just the way it is. Also the license, why we call it license? Well, just like James Bond has a license to kill.
Yes.
It's a funny analogy, but it's true. Just like that, an MKVS client, whether it's a student or teacher licensee, will have the use to use her or his voice to its absolute full potential. With individual smart vocal lessons, this would not be again possible, only with a proper license that incorporates everything in one during this long training period. So that's the only way to do it.
So we actually promise you within this period, you will become what we call a voice professional, meaning if even, let's say that the 24 lessons were not enough, I will make sure that you at the end are at the level that's expected from being a voice professional. So even if something went wrong, and I would basically simply put it on my shoulders and myself and my teachers to make sure that you end up at this high level as expected. So it doesn't matter if it takes less or more time, we will get you to your end goal. That's what we promise with this. So how is this license-based system beneficial for both MKVS and to our clients, in your opinion, Matthew?
Yes, that's a very, very good thing again to talk about, that this whole license-based system is beneficial for both sides, obviously. It's beneficial for MKVS so that we can trade and share this wonderful method with the world, with the peace of mind that whoever learns and utilizes the Mastercare Vocal System method will be identified, verified, protected and supported by us, so we can make sure that it doesn't get into the wrong hands, it doesn't get utilized, nobody uses it in a wrong way, and whether they do this intentionally or unintentionally. This is just a safe way to make sure that doesn't happen. And of course it protects our clients the same way. The MKVS license holder will always be able to refer back to us with his or her license for any help, questions, any support may needed. Plus it's a kind of a prestige to hold that MKVS license. So it's a funny thing at the end, because I always imagined MKVS to be a very, very prestige, a very VIP platform to get. And to be honest with you, by today's standards and by the time we got here, I can actually feel it, that whoever gets MKVS, this is not something that you would get in any corner, on the street. No, this is a truly nice VIP method that not anybody will get access to it, even though that we offer to everybody. Not everybody will get it at the end, only because at the end it will go down to those only who take themselves and their profession as a voice user seriously enough.
Yes, exactly.
That's it. You need to take yourself and the whole method seriously enough to be able to utilize it, and only those will benefit from the system at the end of the day.
Exactly. Of course, if you are just a hobby singer, it doesn't matter. You could still use this. That doesn't, make you not available or not a potential client. However, what we see is that we want to make voice professionals. So it doesn't matter on which side of the coin you are. We will at least help you get to a professional standard.
That's right.
So what are the two licenses and why do we separate them, Matthew?
Yes, so it's not a surprise to anybody that we have at the moment, at this day, two licenses, teacher license and student license.
Yes.
So I think instead of me trying to repeat everything that we already said in some of those YouTube videos, shouldn't we just have a look of one of those videos where you explain this very well? I believe the title of the video, because I recommend to watch the whole video after you watch this live stream, the title of the video is How to Get an MKVS License. It's on our YouTube channel, you can check it out, and Soren is explaining everything very well and very clearly there, so I strongly recommend to check it out. So let's have a look. It's a 2-minute segment of the video. Let's have a look and let's see what you can say for us to understand why we differentiate between the two.
Cool. Hit it, Matthew.
Yeah, hit it.
At the MKVS, we have two different licenses, one for students and one for voice teachers. The main difference between the MKVS student or MKVS teacher license is the purpose of use. If you're planning to use the MKVS for personal purposes only, you should purchase our student license. Personal purpose means it is not in your intention to teach or share the MKVS method with anyone now or in the near future. And you would like to learn the MKVS method for your own domestic, non-profit research use only. If you're planning to use the MKVS for both personal and business purposes, you should go for our teacher license. This means that it is your intention to share or teach the MKVS method now or the near future. And you would like to learn the MKVS method for commercial or educational use. You must choose the MKVS teacher license if you are or planning to be a singing teacher, vocal coach, voice professional, speech therapist, and so forth. Please keep in mind that if you have already purchased your student license, then you can at any point in time upgrade to a teacher's license. Once you have decided, have a look at our website, and with any questions you may have, please first go to our FAQ section, meaning frequently asked questions.
So there you have it. I couldn't have put it even better myself. So the clear difference between the two licenses and the reason why we had to distinguish between the two is the purpose of use.
Yes.
I believe it's pretty obvious which category you would fall into when you must choose your license. But at least it's pretty straightforward 99% of the time. If you have any doubt or you have any questions like, oh, which one should I go for, whatever, obviously we are here to help, so always make sure that you get in touch with us. There are email addresses, there are many ways to get in touch with us, so always feel free to hit your questions towards us, any of us, to Soren or myself. And yeah, we are happy to help, and we can make it clear for you which license would be the perfect fit for you. The reason we decided to create a more accessible and easier to get student license next to the full deal in one teacher license is that because we recognized that many people would not need to get access to the whole entire system to be able to get what they want out of it.
Yes.
That's the main thing. So I I say that if they do not plan to pass this method on, for example, they don't want to teach, they don't want to make a business out of it, they only use it for their own sake, then the student license is both a more sensible and more affordable solution for those.
Yes. There's of course people like Elvis, our first teacher, who just wanted more information and wanted to know as much as possible. So that category is why there's that 1%.
Yeah,
so we don't
absolutely.
There will always be this person here and there who are like, no, I really want a lot of information.
Yeah.
And super interested and intrigued about the voice. So and as we had a viewer once say, do I need to know neuroscience to use this method? That's exactly the reason why that we have both sides. It would be too much to even think about.
To utilize the system, you do not particularly have to know neuroscience.
Exactly.
No, you can benefit from it even without knowing anything. Yeah.
That's the thing, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So let me explain a little bit about what it does for students. So the MKVS provides a method like no other. It is the fastest you have ever evolved with your voice. And it is gender neutral. And it also includes all types of voice types. As we mentioned before, we named the brand the Master Key Vocal System because with the knowledge we pass on to you, you will almost literally hold a Master Key type skill to unlock all the doors to your dream voice and the level of singing that you always wanted. Can't does not exist with this method because you'll be able to pull apart any type or style and reproduce it as close as your anatomy lets you. We'll provide a forever, and I did say forever, renewed student document explaining the method in its entirety. So if you forget anything, you can always go back and read and look at the graphics provided for a lifetime. We will need a minimum of those 6 months, as we talked about before, to engrave the method into your body and brain. After that, you'll be able to become the voice professional that you always wished for. This will give you the knowledge of what is going on when you produce any type of sound, if it is safe or not, which will make you feel more comfortable and free with your voice, in my opinion. The method is very systematic, yet also somatic, like a somatic way of looking at the voice. So it will feel very personal to you. Also because we do care about you reaching your goals, and we will do everything in our power to get you there. You will also be displayed on our website, so if any band is looking for a professional singer, they will be able to see you if you're available or not, and be able to contact you and also know what styles that you like to produce, may it be jazz, may it be classical or vocal effects or whatever your favorite thing to do with your voices. Plus, you're getting access to our forum where you can chat with all the other students, so it's possible to collaborate if that's something you're into. You will always be able to contact us with questions. And if it is too hard to figure out what the problem might be, or the question is too big to answer on an email, then we'll book a free chat on Google Meet. And this is, of course, for free and for lifetime, because we actually care about you reaching your goals. And you will also end up with a diploma saying that you finished your degree as a professional voice user. So everyone knows that you can do whatever you set your mind to do with your voice. After getting your diploma, you will even get 2 free lessons. So we both know that you did not forget anything specific or important in the next year. If you do not understand one of the updates on the student document or inside the student document, you will simply contact one of our teachers or me and book a lesson by emailing the teacher, so both of you can find the right fit of basically day and time. Just so you know, I'm already working on finishing 2 extra papers. So there will be updates very soon, probably. And of course, after that, if there's any questions, you can always get a lesson here and there to make sure you understand these new updates. So if you have had a hard time learning how to sing or use your voice to its full potential, then let us show how easy it can be, and let the MKVS be the helping hand that you always wanted. So that was a little bit about what they'll get with those lessons. But how about the physical side of things, Matthew? Do you have anything to include there?
I would say again, I do not want to repeat myself. What I want to do is, if you give me a second, I'll change the screen to our website. Here it is, we can see it already. And we have this section called FAQ section, which I again strongly recommend for everybody to check it out. And at the FAQ section, we have this question that what things you will get physically with your license. There is this lovely video there that I made quite recently, and it explains what do you have with those licenses, what do you get on the post, because we're actually going to physically post this to you. This is called the starter package, and let's hear it now together. What does it say, what we get with the
premium finish leather case, or more specifically, a portfolio folder in A4 size. 2 printed copies of the NDA agreement, which is the confidentiality agreement. 2 printed copies of the MKVS teacher or student license agreement, depending on which type of license you have purchased. 1 printed copy of the receipt for the payment you have made online. 1 large heavy-duty envelope addressed to MKVS, so that you can post 1 copy of the paperwork back to us. A pen that you can use to sign the paperwork with, plus you can use it at your MKVS training sessions later. About 20 empty sheets of paper for the sessions, so you can take notes. And a VIP badge holder for MKVS workshops and other future MKVS events. Thank you for your attention. See you soon.
There you go. So that was a nice list what you can find in our starter package, which by the way comes for both student and teacher licenses. So any of the license you get, you will get a starter package like that. There's one thing missing from the list, that you will also get a physical copy of your MKVS certificate after your training period has ended and after you got your successful final exam. So you will get a physical printed copy of the MKVS diploma, and of course a digital version, a PDF version, will be emailed to you as well.
And of course, you'll be able to express yourself as you always want to with your voice.
Well, that's the most important one, isn't it?
I do believe so. That's what they came for.
Yes, so that's right. So if there is no questions at the moment, then I believe we are doing a really good job, because everybody is in silence, and they all happy with what we are saying with. So let's just move on to the big gun, the teacher license, which will get everything that includes in the Master Key Vocal System. So
Exactly.
please let us know what's going on there.
Yeah, exactly. So if your dreams is to teach others how to use their voice as easily as it gets, then you found the right place, really. We will open up our teacher's document, giving you 3 approaches. So if one way doesn't work for one specific student, then you always have more options, because not everyone is the same. Even though the main approach, or what I like to call the hands-on approach, seems to be the one that people really like the most. But however, you never know. You might get someone who wants something different, or basically learns in a different way. So the Master Key Vocal Systems method is 2 different roads that work together in perfect harmony. Then we have a third approach, which inspired some parts of the Master Key Vocal System when I was writing it, which is a very old method that was mainly used for classical singing, but fits perfectly with the Master Key Vocal System's idea and method. So you will also be able to teach all styles of clean singing, as well as all vocal effects, mainly known from rock and metal singing. So yes, you might guess right, like rock, yelling or screaming or growling or whatever it might be, we got you covered. While getting your training, you will both watch me teach and have supervised lessons by me, so you can become the best teacher you really can become. You will learn the tools to be able to pull apart any sound into the components, into components that is so much easier to explain to the students, so they get it super fast. I will teach you music theory for singers in a very old method that makes it a lot, and I do mean a lot, easier than what's out there today. There will of course be meetings with all the MKVS teachers from time to time, and if anything new will be added to the method, then you will be the first to know, if your teacher's license is still active, which is a big important part of this. You will be able to graduate within 6 to 12 months. We cannot do it faster, as we said before, because we need it to be engraved to your body and brain. So
Yeah.
That
was a very, very complete list there. What, if you allow me, what I would like to add to all of this is that obviously now we heard about the student license first, now we heard everything about the teacher license as well. What I would like to do quickly is a recap, basically, and a very nice, let's put the two on the opposite sides, comparison between the two. So if I switch back again, if you just give me a second, to the website where we have a nice, there it is, a nice page. We are here again on the FAQ section of our website, where we have this question called, what is the difference between the student and teacher license? So if I hit that one, it will roll up now, and after reading which license you should go for, you can see here are the key differences between the two licenses. So I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger so you can actually read it. And there we go. So the key differences between the licenses. The student license, student licensees will never gain full unlimited access to the actual MKVS paper and any similar upcoming scientific papers, research data and other updates on the MKVS. They will only be taught the method with the limited access to the paper, which is their own version, the student version of the paper. This is actually, they believe or not, but this is for their own benefit. You remember when we just talked about that you don't have to know neuroscience and all kind of details to utilize the system? Now this is the point where you say, oh, actually I do not want to know about all of those things, I do not care about all of those things, all I want is to sing better and use it for my own sake. Then you definitely would like to think about the student license, because we don't bother you with any of those scientific stuff. Then you just have to know the very basics and you just utilize the system for your own benefit. Also, the student license, student licensees will be taught this hands-on method. So this is what you need to keep in mind, and we can only decide to release the shortcut method to the student licensees if there is a reasonably need for it in very specific cases, and only the master teacher Soren will be able to do that in very specific cases. And the student licensees may be taught by any active MKVS license, teacher license holders. So those teachers who are MKVS teacher licensees can teach you as a student licensee, or Soren as well. So you have the option to choose from any of those MKVS teachers. And basically, if we put that opposite to the teacher license, then you can see that teacher licensees will be trained to become a teacher and how to teach MKVS by the master teacher Soren Sedit, only and exclusively. So no other teacher can teach another teacher licensee, only student licensees they can teach. And the other very important aspect is that the teacher licensees will get the full access to all papers, all method, all the scientific stuff, what we just mentioned before. And the other important thing is that teacher licensees can think about getting a teacher license, an MKVS teacher license, for a business opportunity or business investment. Because what we haven't talked about before is that the amount of money that someone invests to get a teacher license, they can roll that money on, they roll it on and get it back with only 2 students. So once they get 2 students for their own that they teach and train for MKVS student license, those teacher license holders will get their money back immediately after these two students. So if you think about it that way, that is again a very clever business investment for them, that they not only gain this great benefit of the MKVS method, but they can also gain a bit of business opportunity there. So I would say that is the basic big difference between the 2 licenses.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
Yeah, so we can start with there's 2 other small aspects we haven't talked about yet. What is an active teacher license? What does that mean?
Okay, active teachers. So if I go to the bottom of this page, and I'm gonna try to show it to you again, if I change it there. Yeah, here we go. So active teacher license holder means that after you successfully finished your final exam and you became officially a MKVS teacher license holder, you have 1 calendar year active teacher status. It means that you have 1 whole year to enjoy the benefits of your license as an active user, but then after that you need to renew your license every single year. And this is basically needed. It's like there's no other way around it. It's needed to be this way, so the MKVS teachers are always up to date with this ever-evolving method that you created. There is no way around it. We cannot just say that somebody is an MKVS teacher licensee and 5 years from now can teach the same thing as any other ones who actually take the effort and they do participate in researches, in discussions, in updates, in everything. No, everybody has to participate in that, so that way we can guarantee that any of the teachers you turn to get the MKVS license, that you will get the same from everybody. I think that's the most beautiful way to put it.
Yeah, you'll get the same quality from whomever
Exactly.
is going to teach.
Exactly.
And also, if you want those new documents, then that's where you will get them, because the first document, the actual MKVS paper, the first one, is what you're getting, and then all these updates will be shared with you. And if you're not an active license holder, then these papers will not be there anymore. So it could be pretty smart to stay updated and keep your license if you want to be a professional teacher. Then we have the upgrade from student to teacher.
Yeah, that's right. That's one thing we haven't mentioned earlier when we talked about that. It's again, this as a final piece of mind, a final little piece of information for everybody, that if you really cannot decide, or your financial status doesn't allow you to decide one way or another, it's always good to keep in mind that if you go for the student license right now, and for example you get your training period over and you already have the student license, and you just wait a year, or doesn't matter how many months or whatever, at any point and any time you can upgrade your license to a teacher one. So it doesn't matter what teacher you got your license from, who was your MKVS teacher, whether it's the master teacher Soren Sedit or anybody else. It doesn't matter when that happened, doesn't matter at all. At any time, at any point, you can upgrade to the teacher's license if you want. So again, that's a very, very great thing that we allow people to get the full access to everything at any time and any point. So do not worry if you change your mind halfway through. One thing to notice, obviously, that keep in mind that backwards it doesn't work. So you cannot downgrade your teacher license to a student one again, for obvious reasons. So there you go.
So yeah, I would at the end here like to remind you all of that we still have a 10% off our student licenses. It is still valid for up to the end of this month, so I would definitely recommend you think about that if you want to become the next MKVS student. So yeah, make sure you make a screenshot or take a picture with your phone, or write it down on a piece of paper, or what's the easiest way for you, so you get this 10% discount code. So yeah, Matthew, I don't know if you already displayed it, but if you want to, then please show them this code.
I
now.
just did it.
Amazing.
Yeah, I just did it. It's all there for everybody to use it.
Great.
Yeah.
So, and in our next webinar, we will have the amazing Elvis, our first MKVS teacher. You will hear him sing live, so you can see what happened to his voice, even though he went for the teacher's license and not the student one, because it doesn't matter which one you choose, you will still be able to use this method to its full potential. And you'll be able to ask him any questions about how it was to become a voice teacher here at the MKVS. We also have a little video on our YouTube that you can watch, where I asked Elvis some questions, but you did not have the option to ask him as well. So I really hope that you will join in on the next one. It might first happen in January, because Elvis is on tour in December, as it looks right now. So yeah, We cannot promise anything, their exact date yet, but as soon as it's there, we will show you on all of our social media platforms. So, I truly hope that you liked this webinar, and if you did, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of our future content and webinars. You can also join us on our website where we have a subscription with your email address. We will not flood you with a million spammy emails or anything like that. Only good content, meaning if we have something exciting to share or when the next webinar will appear. And yeah, I would just basically want to thank you all, and maybe Matthew, we can do it together.
One more thing, just for the final time, I'll display both of our email addresses on the screen. So again, any questions, anything that you want to ask or anything that you need help with regarding the MasterKey Vocal system, just contact us on contact@themkvs.com or Soren himself at sorensaidit@themkvs.com.
Awesome. Yeah, and thank you for joining in, Matthew. It was really awesome to have you here. And
thank you very much for the invitation. It was an honor. And yeah, hopefully I was help for everybody. And
most definitely.
And I can be help next time if there is anything else to.
Any technical support, Matthew is there for you. That's the best way to put it, I think.
Yeah,
awesome.
That's right.
So yeah, otherwise have an amazing December and New Year if we do not see each other before that, and stay safe out there, and cannot wait to see you next time.
See you, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.